comes the, here comes the, here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like that. Yeah. Here comes the, no. Here comes the, oh. Here comes the. Y'all don't really want it now. I said so. I keep big bills up in my heart.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again. It's been a long time coming. I'm back on YouTube, StreamYard on YouTube. And let me tell you something, people. This show, The Master Plan, is sponsored by Eternal Autograph and Memorabilia. You see it down on the bottom there? It's sponsored by Eternal Autographs and Memorabilia. Hey, people, we got a great show in store for you today. I'm telling you, it's a great show. I don't often pump up my shows. I just tell you what's going on, and you take it for what it is. But I'm not on Blog Talk at all for today. I'm not on Blog Talk for today. I want to put out this. Now, last week, the week before, at least a month ahead of time, I told you that I'm going to give you a 2-round mock draft. Not one, but 2. In the past, I've given you, since beginning in January and leading up to this month, I've given you 1 round. Well, I'm giving you 2 rounds now, how I feel a draft will go and what people will pick up in not the first round, but the second round. Okay? Now, this is not written in stone. This is just my opinion. And just like my opinion and anybody else's opinion, it can change. Okay? In addition to that, I'm going to go through a wide receivers ranking. Okay? So what we're going to do is this. I've been going back and forth with it. Should I give out the draft first? Should I get out the mock draft first and then the wide receivers rankings? I said no. So should I get out the wide receiver ranking and then the draft? I said, well, the draft is the my opinion of where certain players, including wide receivers, are going to get drafted. And so I'm thinking I'm giving out the wide receivers first to give you an idea what I think the rankings of the wide receivers. Now, some people are going to disagree. But this is how I feel. This is my opinion. Now, I'm not saying it's written in stone. This is what I believe it is exactly. But this is my opinion. And it is what it is. Okay? It is what it is. what did I do with this thing here? Oh, here it is. Okay. Hold on. Let me get myself together here. I'm going to give you my reasons why certain players, I think, especially in wide receivers, are ranked. And in a minute, or less than a minute, whatever, I'm going to reveal my rankings of the wide receivers. Now, I'm going to give 24 wide receivers. For the simple fact is this. Most fantasy football teams have at least 2 wide receivers, for the most part. So that's and I'm basing this on a 12-team PPR league. So quite naturally, 12 teams, 2 wide receivers, you do the math, 24 players, 24 wide receivers. That's the reason why I'm giving up the wide receivers like this. And I do believe I'm pretty close to how people feel about each one of these wide receivers. And I'm going to put out the whole list first, and then I'm going to go down the list, starting from the bottom and going from there up to number one. And I'll give you my reasons for why I like certain players at that position. So number 24 sits all by himself, is Darnell Mooney. Now, I put Darnell Mooney. I know a lot of people like Darnell Mooney, but he's in the offense that they have a bad offensive line. The offense is lacking. Let me put it that way. And I know he's a young guy. Now, he's a star in making, a third-year wide receiver, looks primed to cement himself as the Chicago's true number one wide receiver. He already operated as the number one receiver for most of last year, ranking as a wide receiver 27.5 point fantasy scoring through 17 weeks. Mooney also finished the last 4 weeks of the season ninth in target share, which was 27%, and fifth in route participation, which was 95%. With nobody worth much outside of third year and tight end Cole Kmet, and I told you about Cole Kmet before. We'll go later in a month about the tight ends, and I told you about Cole Kmet. As a legitimate competition, Mooney should build off his 8th ranked 24% target share from last season. Now, you got Brian Pringle, Equanimous St. Brown, and an old-ass rookie, 25 years old rookie, Velus Jones. And that tells you should only encourage targeting the 24-year-old Mooney in your 2022 drafts. So, in my opinion, he's a fourth round, third round, late third or early fourth round pick, somewhere around there. I wouldn't even think about picking him up any sooner than that. Wouldn't even think about picking him up any sooner than that. And he's probably late than that. In a 12 team, 12 team, he's probably, did I say 4 or 5, maybe 6 or 7. He's way down there. He's way down there. Just if you can look on the net and get an idea. Now I'm giving you an idea, but what I'm saying is this: you look on the net and see where Darnell Mooney is. Where Darnell Mooney is. Okay? Now, I'm going to tell you right now, people. You're seeing this down below. Okay? And it's Block Talk Radio. Probably from now on, unless circumstances don't warrant it, I'll be doing YouTube, not Blog Talk. I'll be doing YouTube, so you can see my little smiling face and see how I react and feel to what I'm saying. Okay? I've been doing Blog Talk for over 10 years. And it's time to transition into live video streaming. So what we're going to do is this. Okay, I already talked about Darnell Mooney. All right, and I'm going to reveal the whole 23 players on the screen, so you can see it for yourself. And here we go. Bear with me, people. I'm trying to get myself together here. JT presents the master plan.
Getting that from YouTube.
JT presents the master plan.
Getting that from YouTube.
Well, we'll see what happens here, people. I know I'm sitting here and I'm trying to get this together. Bear with me for a minute, people. Here we go. Here we go. I got it. Okay. Now I know we're on YouTube. Here we go. Here we go. I got it. Okay. Now I know on YouTube. Okay. So what we're going to do is this. What we're going to do is this. As you see down there on the screen, you see my 23 to 1 on YouTube. All right now. And I'm going to go down quite naturally. You can see it. Okay. You're going to say, now, why the hell is this page here or there? Okay. All right. Starting at 23. Okay. We have Marquise. Let me look at it. Let me look at it again. Make sure I'm coinciding with my my ticker. And now it seems like Marquise Brown until DeAndre Hopkins. No, that's the wrong one. Okay, here we go. My 23 wide receiver ranked is Marquise Brown. Sorry for that screw up. I'm screwing up here. I'm trying to get it together. But it seems like Marquise Brown is slated for a massive target share in Arizona's Cardinals pass-happy offense. Brown posted a top 12 target share last season, 23% with Baltimore. Baltimore was a run-heavy, very run-heavy team. The speedy wideout also commanded a whopping 27% target share back in 2018. I'm not worried about 2018 at Oklahoma. So the last time he played with Kyler Murray, that's why. Okay, Christian Kirk was wide receiver 12 during the last 4 weeks without Hopkins in the lineup. The Cardinals paid a premium. They paid a heavy price to acquire Brown, so you should expect them to use him a whole lot. A lot. Brace yourself for Brown to skyrocket up best ball rankings and as a top 20, and I got him at 23, fantasy wide receiver option. I got Marquise Brown. At least the first 6 games, and since they have a rapport back in their college days, it more than likely is going to continue when DeAndre Hopkins returns. Okay? At number 22, as you see on the bottom coming to you right now, I got Allen Robinson, one of my favorite wide receivers. And I talked about this when Allen Robinson got picked up by the Rams. And a certain person, and I'm not going to name him, said that it's not a big deal. This is a big deal. And like I said when it first happened, Allen Robinson is a very good wide receiver. Was on a very bad offense, and pretty much, I wouldn't say he mailed it in, but the coaching staff mailed it in for him. Mailed it in for him. And Matthew Stafford, you see what he did with Cooper Kupp and how he rose. How he rose. And along with Odell Beckham before Odell got hurt. Matthew Stafford likes throwing to big wide receivers. Remember Calvin Johnson? And I'm not comparing him to Calvin Johnson, Allen Robinson. I'm not comparing him to Allen Robinson. I'm just comparing him with the size and a long catch radius. I mean, a wide catch radius in Allen Robinson. And he's got a lot left in the tank. Before Robert Woods hit the IR, he was the wide receiver 17 in half PPR per game. Van Jefferson saw elite usage playing on every down as the number 3 wide receiver, but didn't follow up his playing time with any worthwhile production. Jefferson was wide receiver 35 overall on the season and outside the top 40 in points per game, despite a top-tier 86% route participation. Now, the likely scenario for Allen Robinson is that he steps up into the number 2 role behind Cooper Kupp and operates the way Woods started the year or by how Odell Beckham ended the season. The likely scenario for Allen Robinson is that he steps up to the number 2 role behind Cooper Kupp and, like I said, operates the way Woods started the year. Down the playoff stretch, and Odell Beckham. Odell Beckham finishing the season. Okay. Down the playoff stretch, Odell Beckham averaged 19% target share behind Cooper Kupp and almost 12 and a half fantasy points. Excuse me, per game for week 12 through the divisional round. And that equates to a wide receiver 2. Okay. I got Allen Robinson at number 22. Okay. That's wide receiver 2 range. Trust me. That's wide receiver 2 range, 2-3 range. I expect Allen Robinson to go off the board pretty quickly because people are going to jump on that Rams train along with Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp, quite naturally, is going to go a lot higher. And you see that scrolling down on the bottom of my screen. Usually I don't like to reveal all the players, but I want to change up and do something different here. Okay, I can always give you my explanation of whatever position I put a player in. So I got Allen Robinson at number 22. This next guy at number 21, the difference between Geno Smith and Drew Lock at quarterback versus Russell Wilson cannot be overstated enough. It's a horrible situation to be in. It puts DK Metcalf in a tough spot. Now, to tell you the truth, I like Geno Smith over Drew Lock. Some people don't like Geno Smith. That's fine. Everybody has their own opinion. Everybody looks at a player or the players out of a different lens, which is not. I don't have a problem with that. I mean, everybody has their own opinion, right or wrong. There's no right or wrong here. Well, there is and there isn't. Let me put it that way. The perspective you want to put on one player versus another is your own opinion. Okay. You look at the numbers. You look at what the situation the player is in, and you make your own assessment. Although the wideout did rise to occasion under a small sample size last season, averaging almost 15 fantasy points per game, without Wilson at quarterback for 3 games. Now, I'm a little suspect that removing that quarterback that led the NFL in yards per attempt, I'm talking about Russell Wilson, passer rating from a clean pocket before his finger injury is going to create a much larger impact on a 17-game sample size. I tell you, people, I know I said this before, and I'll say it again. Pay attention to the numbers, not the name. And I do believe DK Metcalf is really quarterback dependent on this one. Depending on who gets the starting nod and who's going to be the most started quarterback from the Seattle Seahawks. Will it be Geno Smith for the season, or Drew Lock, or a little bit of both? Inconsistent quarterback play means inconsistent wide receiver points. And I think that's going to happen. But you can't downplay the talent. You can't downplay the talent. So he's going to have some good weeks. He's going to have some bad weeks. The overall picture of how many fantasy points and how relevant his fantasy numbers are going to be, you're going to have to assess that at the end of the season, unfortunately. Otherwise, he would be up within the top 10, maybe even the top 5. But the quarterback play greatly affects DK Metcalf. That's why I have him down here at number 21. At number 20, you see it going across your screen. And I got to admit, this is one of my favorite players to pick up. And I'm not going to deny it because of the quarterback play. You got one of the best deep ball passers moving from a Seattle Seahawks run-heavy team to a Daniel Hackett, new coach from the Green Bay Packers, and a new offense with a little bit more juice in the passing game. Denver Broncos. And with Courtland Sutton being one of the main wide receivers, besides Jerry Jeudy and big, tall wide receiver. Now he's entering his third year. It looked like he was going to be, when he entered his third year, I should say, it looked like he was going to be a elite fantasy wide receiver, but his 2020 season was cut by that dreaded ACL. And the 2021 season, he had Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater as the quarterback. But he looked like his old self. He averaged 13.8 fantasy points per game. That ranked 17th and had 27% target share in weeks 2 to 7 during the regular season. Now, it wasn't until Jerry Jeudy's return, last season from injury that Sutton and the rest of the Broncos pass catchers became obsolete in a crowded run-heavy offense led by a combination of Locke and Teddy Bridgewater. And that's why it was run-heavy. I mean, they have two very good running backs right now in Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. Nevertheless, Sutton finished the season as wide receiver 46. Now, even in the anemic offense, Sutton finished 7th in air yards, 1,756. And he was in between Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf in 2021. And DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett had who was the quarterback? Russell Wilson. Hello. Sutton has a real chance to recapture his elite form another year removed from his ACL. And I told you, people, I like players second year removed from an ACL injury. And this is prime. First year, they got to get used to themselves and a knee and their mindset. And it takes a while. Sometimes it takes longer for someone that has a big knee injury like that. And I think this is probably another case, along with inconsistent quarterback play. Teddy Bridgewater is not a great deep ball thrower, likes to check down, likes to throw short passes, intermediate, things like that. Drew Lock is not an accurate deep ball passer. You got Russell Wilson now. Russell Wilson is one of the best deep ball passers in the NFL. One of the best passers in the NFL. And Wilson had always been an elite downfield passer. He had the sixth higher passer rating on throws of 20-plus air yards last season, which played heavily into Courtland Sutton's strength as a vertical threat. Okay. So you got a combination of a vertical threat in Courtland Sutton and one of the highest passer ratings on throws of 20-plus yards coming together to create some magic for the Denver Broncos. I'm loving this. This is one guy I'm going to target. I tell you that right now. I'm going to target him. I'm going to target him. There's no two ways about it. And I don't know. I'm going to try to do this, but I don't know how it's going to work. I'm going to try to do this because, as you see, going across the screen at number 19 is another wide receiver that I absolutely love. I had him last season in one league. I have him again. And I had him in a few leagues, but this one league, as you see right there, he's going across the screen, right there. Mike Williams. Going across the screen, Mike Williams. I love Mike Williams. Got a big contract. I think he's getting paid more than Keenan Allen, the supposedly number one wide receiver. Okay? On the Los Angeles Chargers. Love Mike Williams. I got one league, Yahoo, that I have him in a league, and that's a keeper league, the only keeper league that I have. And I think I'm keeping Mike Williams. I picked Mike Williams up in the 9th round last season. Yeah, picked him up in the 9th round. And he has an opportunity to take his talents elsewhere this offseason in free agency, but decided to stay in L.A. with quarterback Justin Herbert. Smart move, Mike. Hard to argue with the choice to sign a 3-year deal, $60 million attached to a young superstar quarterback, especially when that quarterback fueled a career year. He stormed out the gate in 2021. I'm talking about Mike Williams as a wide receiver 2 in fantasy through the first 5 weeks of the season, averaging 94 yards, receiving yards, and a little more than 1 touchdown per game. But he finished the season as a wide receiver 23 in fantasy points per game, despite cooling off considerably in the later weeks, in addition to leaving a boatload of touchdown production on the table. He finished 6th in end zone targets, but caught only 5 for touchdowns. With positive TD regression on his side, Williams looks like a sneaky candidate to repeat his wide receiver 12 overall finish in half-point scoring. Now, I'm talking about full PPR, 1 point per reception. Okay? And I'm telling you, that hefty price tag, they're going to use them. They're going to probably use them, I would say, more than Keenan Allen, but you got a pass-happy offense in the LA Chargers. A dynamic. I wouldn't say pass-happy. A dynamic offense in the Chargers. And he got a hefty contract. You don't think they want to get their return on investment on that? You don't think they want to work Mike Williams for the money they're paying him? I guarantee you. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Don't know how I'm going to do it. I'm trying to get both these guys, Mike Williams and Courtland Sutton. And Mike Williams is ranked at a wide receiver 15, even though I have him at wide receiver, 20, 19? Okay. His average draft position is, it's all over the place. All over the place. 19, all the way to 19, and that's within the second round. Okay. And Courtland Sutton is in that same wheelhouse. So I don't know how I'm going to get both of them. I'm going to try to get both of them. And like I said, people, drafts are different. All drafts are different. And I'll show you my draft You're going to be surprised. Let me put it that way. You will be surprised on my draft positions, on who I have 1 to 24. Okay? Some there's going to be some surprises here. You're like, what the heck? Why is that? Are you kidding me? Okay, no problem. At number 18, from my former team, the Houston Texans, this guy is Mr. 1000. I'm going to say he's Mr. 1000. Brandon Cooks has finished worse than a fantasy wide receiver 20 only once since 2015. What year is this? 2022. And that was due to injury. He has eclipsed 1,000 yards. I'm going to tell you this now. Listen to me now. Listen to me. I know he's on a lousy team, but that can be to his benefit, not a detriment. That could be to his benefit. He has eclipsed 1,000 receiving yards 6 times with 4 different teams during that span. 6 times since 2015. Now he's 28 years old, and he's not slowing down. Last season, he was a target and air yards hog, finishing 4th in air yard share at 36% and 9th in target share at 24%. And during the final 4 games of the season with a rookie quarterback, Cooks was top 10 in fantasy points per game at 15, to go along with a top 5 target rate per route run at 33%. Okay? So, okay, he's on a bad team. Bad team, bad defense. They get behind a lot. They're going to be throwing the ball a lot. And Davis Mills, to tell you the truth, wasn't a bad quarterback and knew where his bread was buttered with Brandon Cooks. Excuse me, and took advantage of that. Took advantage of that and gave it to Brandon Cooks on a regular basis. He averaged people 15 yards per game. Final 4 games of the season. 1,000 receiving yards 6 times with 4 different teams. 4 different teams. Come on. Regardless of who the quarterback is, 4 different teams. A mark of consistency that you can't match for the most part. Okay? Now this guy is, man, I know I put him in here. I know if Victor was here, he would say, well, why are you putting him up here so far? Or he should be higher. One or the other. I'm talking about number 17. You'll see it coming across your screen in a minute. Number 17. And it's ironic he's number 17. That's his jersey number. Terry McLaurin got the wide receiver treatment for Washington in 2021. He ran a route on 91% of offensive dropbacks and finished 2nd in the NFL in air yard share behind only Justin Jefferson. But the horrible quarterback play in that nation's capital limited McLaurin's fantasy production to fantasy wide receiver 25. Many will point to new Washington quarterback Carson Wentz as just another retread of a bad quarterback play coming Terry McLaurin's way, but I can't be optimistic at all. The number 2 overall pick has a proven track record of sustaining fantasy viable weapons, most notably Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman from a season ago. Now we're talking about Carson Wentz. His 27 passing touchdowns, 27 interceptions, and a 67.9 Pro Football Focus passing grade are miles better than Washington's 20 passing touchdowns, 15 interceptions, and a 58.3 Pro Football Focus passing grade in 2021. Let me tell you something, people. I have him at 17. I know. I have him at 17. His talent speaks for itself. But what I talked about in DK Metcalf, I'm talking about Terry McLaurin. Quarterback play. Carson Wentz is not the most accurate quarterback. And the Washington Commanders quarterback play last season was horrible. Very bad. This is just a slight step up. Washington still, in my opinion, hasn't found their franchise quarterback yet. This is just a stopgap, in my opinion, for Terry McLaurin at 17. And a lot of these, as you go up higher, the quarterback play is more consistent. But when you're down near here, I can't, the next 4 or 5 players that I'm going to name, quarterback play is going to play key. Key. I mean, with all these quarterback plays going to play key, but they either have a suspect quarterback with a new offense or a new quarterback on a new team, or that's what's going to happen here. Suspect offense, quarterback. You got Jalen Waddle. Who's Jalen Waddle's quarterback? Tua Tagovailoa. Jalen Waddle looked primed to make the leap into the top 12 conversation after a stellar rookie season. Along with breaking Anquan Bolden's rookie reception record, Waddle commanded a 22% target share and 24% target rate per route run. Now, that was 18th best in the NFL. But with the expensive addition of veteran Tyreek Hill, it is less likely that Waddle is the clear-cut number 1 receiver in Miami. Hill is coming off a season where he commanded the league's 7th highest target rate per route run, 27%. And the trade moves Waddle down from a fringe wide receiver to mid-range wide receiver 2 after seeing almost zero target competition last season. He had Devontae Parker and he had Jalen Waddle. Devontae Parker has had a hard time staying healthy on the field. The most healthy and most consistent player that Tua threw to was Jalen Waddle. That's why he put up those numbers. Now you have Tyreek Hill along with Jalen Waddle. Okay? Is Tua going to spot Tyreek Hill every now and then, try to give him a big play opportunity? And the more consistent underneath player is going to be Jalen Waddle. That's yet to be seen. I got him at 16. Wide receiver 16. But that's quarterback play. That's what I'm talking about. The last player I gave you was Terry McLaurin. I said quarterback play. This guy I'm going to give you is quarterback play. The next guy I'm going to give you is, they're in essence a quarterback competition. So you don't know whether you're going to get a rookie or you're going to get a veteran at the quarterback. Quarterback play. This is shaky part of my rankings. This is the gap. I mean, not the gap. The players that are within 18, 17, 16, and this one at 15 has to do with quarterback play. They got a ton of talent. Is that talent going to be brought out with the quarterback, or is the quarterback going to hold them back? I got Deontay Johnson at number 15. Now, you got Mitchell Trubisky or Kenny Pickett can take the Steelers to the fantasy promised land. But I'm not optimistic about that. The best case scenario for the Steelers' number 1 wide receiver is seeing a boatload of targets. Now, they were inefficient last season when he ranked second in that category in fantasy. Now, whether it's Trubisky or the rookie under center, that is the reality with Deontay Johnson. Let's not forget that last year's heavily coveted rookie quarterback class produced almost zero reliable options outside of Brandon Cooks, Davis Mills, Jacoby Myers, Mac Jones, and Kendrick Bourne, Mac Jones. So with the top 15 early best ball average draft position in an offense with more competition for targets between Chase Claypool, Pat Freiermuth, George Pickens, and Calvin Austin III, you're going to need Johnson to fall significantly in draft before selecting him. Okay? Now, from what I'm looking at here, his average draft position in PPR is 17. I have him at 15. Okay? All right? So he is easy a wide receiver 3. Easy a wide receiver 3. Okay? In my opinion. And he, depending on the quarterback play, I'm telling you that the next guy I'm going to give you is just another prime example of that in where I have him, quarterback play. I got number 14, DJ Moore. Hello. DJ Moore. And who's going to be the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers? Is it going to be Sam Darnold or, by most reports, Baker Mayfield? I don't have much faith in either one of them, to tell you the truth. There's no denying DJ Moore's talent or elite usage for the Carolina Panthers. He's one of 11 wide receivers to run a route on at least 90% of the team's dropbacks to go along with the top 3 air yards share, 36%, and 7th ranked target rate per route run, 25%. Most wideouts that own this usage are no doubt top 12 fantasy options, but Moore's abysmal quarterback play continues to hold him back. He only finished as the wide receiver 19 last season in half-point scoring, as his quarterback play was graded out as a stone worst in the NFL, according to Pro Football Focus. The Panthers literally had the worst quarterback play last year across several fantasy platforms, including he had. Let me put it this way: he stunk. Quarterback play stunk. But with Baker Mayfield in Carolina, it's an upgrade for all parties involved. It's not being discussed enough that before Baker Mayfield separated his shoulder in Week 6, he ranked 6th in yards per attempt, at 8.5, and 7th in other categories. All right, the Browns quarterback has shown ability to support multiple fantasy weapons, not named Odell Beckham when healthy. So Moore should be firmly at the top of the wide receiver 2 conversation during the fantasy football draft season. Now, Jarvis Landry, last season, as the Browns' number 1, finished as wide receiver 19 and 13 and a half point scoring in 2018 and 2019 with Mayfield at quarterback. Now, Baker Mayfield also boasts the highest passing touchdown percentage of any quarterback Moore has ever played with, suggesting a career high in touchdown is well within the reach for 2022. Now, that could be. I'm giving Baker the benefit of the doubt. New team, new players, and new attitude, hopefully, will equate to better quarterback play and more of what you want from DJ Moore with better quarterback play. That's what's on Baker. That's what's on Baker. Okay? At number 13, lucky 13, or I don't know, maybe unlucky 13. You got a wide receiver that moved from a run-heavy offense, but was clearly a wide receiver that I coveted quite a bit. Now he's on a Eagle team, and has never played in a pass-happy offense. And that doesn't necessarily project to change too drastically if the Eagles run back their operation ground and pound from a season ago. The Eagles were one of the most run heavy teams. Still, Brown's talent, AJ Brown, I'm talking about, has yet to hold him back in a poor situation. In 2020, he was a wide receiver 5 in fantasy points per game, and that shouldn't stop in Philly. Now, quite naturally, he's going to be the top dog for the Eagles and remains a fantasy wide receiver 1 in 2020 fantasy league. Brown finished 4th in yards per route run, 2.72, and in target rate per route run, 28%, despite battling injuries last season. Now, Jalen Hurts, quarterback play, hasn't been too accurate, but now he's got an alpha in the wide receiver with a wide catch radius, which he's going to probably need. He's going to probably need that. They got the 7th easiest wide receiver strength of schedule, which can't hurt. And he's number 28 in PPR ranking consensus. Now, AJ Brown. The Eagles throw a lot. They throw a lot. They do. And you're going to think that the AJ Brown, is he going to get the same amount of work and opportunities that he did in Tennessee? Now, who would you rather have? Ryan Tannehill as your quarterback or Jalen Hurts? I think it would be, in fantasy, Jalen Hurts is probably the better option because of his legs. But in reality, I would rather have Ryan Tannehill. In reality, Ryan Tannehill versus Jalen Hurts. In fantasy, it's a different story because the legs of Jalen Hurts, it's a big factor in his fantasy production. So I'd have to. Oh, I'm sorry, people. I screwed up. I jumped over somebody, and I really didn't want to jump over somebody. I had AJ Brown at number 12, and I have T. Higgins at number 13, who I absolutely love. What was I thinking? What was I thinking there? Okay. I have T. Higgins at number 13. All right. I love T. Higgins. Target rate, 23% per route run was higher than Jamar Chase's 21%. You believe that? During a regular season, 2021. His target, 25% target share in the games they played together when healthy. There's no denying that the wide receiver overall upside exists with Jamar Chase, but Higgins' constant command of targets in a loaded Cincinnati offense will make him a screaming value in 2021. Now, as you'll see, I like running backs, and to get a running back in the second round versus a wide receiver it's a choice of how you want to frame your team and compile your team in fantasy. Do I want to put that wide receiver T. Higgins or someone like that in my second? That's my second pick. Or do I want to wait and jump on wide receivers late in the third, fourth round or later and pick up running backs in the first 2 or 3 rounds. That's a dilemma. I mean, you got some very good wide receivers. Do you want to let them go by the wayside and let someone else pick them up? Or do you want to pick them up, maybe not in the first round, but second round or third round? T. Higgins is one of those players that gives you that difficult choice. Do I want to let T. Higgins go to someone else, or do I want to pick him up? I love T. Higgins, and that's the dilemma that you got to go through in order to see that if you want that type of makeup of your team, beginning makeup of your team, or do you want to go in a different direction? All right, let's move on. I talked to you about number 13, number 12. I talked to you about both of those already. So let's go to number 11. And this guy may wind up depending on quarterback play, depending on if Matt Ryan in Indianapolis targets him as a true number one. Now, he got the treatment of a true number one from the Colts coaching staff in 2020, running a route on 96% of offensive dropbacks. And that was only third to only Cooper Kupp and Jamar Chase through 17 weeks. He also finished the season tied for the league's 8th highest target share, which was 11 percentage points higher than the next closest Colt. He had 24%. Zach Pascal had 13%. He also made 18 highlighted real contested catches, 4th most in the NFL, and that's because he had Carson Wentz, who's not the most accurate quarterback. Okay, and his 31% target share from week 13 to 18 put him in place in Indianapolis's wide receiver chair heading into 2022. With Matt Ryan under center, Michael Pittman Jr. has the volume potential to be a top 12 fantasy option. Ryan has a history of fueling top-end wide receivers like Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, making a top 5 finish not all that crazy for Big Mike in 2022. Now, don't forget that last season, Ridley, as the Falcons' number 1 wide receiver, owned the 6th highest target rate per route run and ranked 2nd among all wide receivers in expected fantasy points per game in 16.5 points. I expect Michael Pittman Jr. to be within that wide receiver 12. Maybe top 5. That's not crazy. You got Matt Ryan. Matt Ryan is going to feed the wide receiver dog. I can guarantee that. He's going to feed the wide receiver. Okay? All right, let's move on to the next one. Now we're looking at on the bottom of the screen, and I tell you this show is sponsored by Eternal Autographs and Memorabilia by FSP on Facebook. Don't pay attention to that number because I'm not on Blog Talk Radio. But the Master Plan is sponsored by Eternal Autographs and Memorabilia. Now let's go back to our wide receivers rankings. Okay, at number 10, just got paid, and it ain't Friday night. Okay, Debo just got paid. And he's the talented wideout finished last season as the number 1, as the wide receiver 2 overall in points per game at 18.8. His receiving production alone would have been placed inside the top 20. But there's a reason to believe that Debo won't be able to sustain that same elite production from last season. Now, you got Trey Lance as a new quarterback. Natural regression is firmly in place, considering no wide receiver earned more fantasy points above expectations than Debo did in 2021. And that number doesn't come as a surprise, considering nearly 30% of Debo's fantasy points came from rushing alone. Now, you got a rushing quarterback, and Debo got paid, but they're going to use him in the rushing game. Maybe not as much, but they're going to use him in the rushing game because nearly 30%, they're not going to take that away. He cut it in half. He's still a dangerous threat. He's still going to rack up some fantasy points in the running game. In the running game, you may have a running quarterback who on occasion will take off, but they're still going to use Debo because that's a valuable option in their offense. Valuable option in their offense. So there's no reason that they would not. And that's why I have Debo at what? Number 10? Yes, number 10. At number 9. Here we go at number 9. We get into the real nitty-gritty here, people. Keenan Allen. One of the most perennially underrated wide receivers in the NFL. He is. He caught 100-plus passes for the 5th straight season and finished as the wide receiver 14 overall and in fantasy points per game at 12.8. The Chargers' slot receiver remains Justin Herbert's go-to option as his 17th ranked 22% target share led the Chargers, but it's worth noting that Mike Williams outscored Allen in half-point scoring in a season totality, and that Allen posted his lowest yards per route run, 1.78 since 2014. I'm telling you, people. I'm telling you, Keenan Allen, this is a really pass-happy offense that can support two solid fantasy wide receivers in Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. Trust me when I tell you this. Either on your fantasy teams, you want a piece of the Los Angeles Chargers, either a running back or one of the two wide receivers. You want a piece of one of those guys. Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, Mike Williams. No doubt. I'm grabbing a piece of them every time I draft in my fantasy leagues. There's no two ways about it. One way or the other, I'm going to get one of the three. Besides even thinking about getting a quarterback, you want the quarterback. He's going to be throwing the passes. You want the quarterback. So you got 4 options in 3 different positions: quarterback, running back, 2 wide receivers. Take your choice. Can't go wrong, in my opinion. And all this, and I should have prefaced this in the beginning. Injury. You can't predict injuries. You know what? Out of the 10 years that I've been doing this, I predicted one injury that was spot on. Out of 10 years, I don't know, I may have had an epiphany when I did it. I really, I mean, it had to be Nostradamus or whatever. Everyone called it. Derrick Henry. If you go back in the archive, back in September, whenever it was, I predicted Derrick Henry to get injured in the week that he got injured. I've never done that before. Probably never will. But for some reason, I had to predict that, and it came exactly the game that he got hurt. I don't know where that came from. I tell you, it had to be just it. I don't know, pure luck, whatever you want to call it. But to pick the exact game the guy would get hurt, it was almost. I wouldn't say almost to the day from last year, but it was back in September of my broadcast last season that I predicted Derrick Henry to get hurt in week 8. It is what it is. It don't mean anything. I'm not tapping my own horn. I'm just saying that it was. I don't know where it came from. I never done that. Never done that. Probably never will in 10 years. Anyway, let's move to number 8. Number 8. This guy moved from the best quarterback in one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL to Tua Tagovailoa. Ooh. And he happened to say Tua was more accurate than Pat Mahomes. Where'd that come from? Heading into 2021, Tyreek Hill was a consensus top 3 receiver option, but he came in slightly under expectations. He wrapped up. He put a bow on the year as a number wide receiver overall and in points per game at 14.2. Now that you have to think that Hill posted a career low in yards after the catch per reception, 4.3, which was 42nd among wide receivers, and yards per route run with 2.14, which was 11th among wide receivers. But it's undeniable that going from Patrick Mahomes to Tua Tagovailoa is a massive downgrade for Hill. Tagovailoa has yet to show that he can properly fuel a fantasy wide receiver 1. So it's hard to expect Hill to deliver a top 5 season with a lesser passer. With Tua Tagovailoa lack of a confident deep ball, a prominent running game, and Jalen Waddle also heavily involved. We talked about Jalen Waddle earlier. Hill will have his weeks when he's peppered with low-value targets in PPR formats, but the massive downfield touchdowns will happen much less frequently. Now, I'm thinking that he's going to be a top wide receiver. He's got the 30th hardest wide receiver schedule, so he's going to get up against some tough defenses with a lesser quarterback. But I have him. He's an undeniable talent. I have him at number 8. He's an undeniable talent. To me, he would be, if it was still with Pat Mahomes, he would be within the top 5, without a shadow of a doubt. But he drops within the tier 2 of quarterbacks between 6 and 10. Between wide receivers between 6 and 10. So I have him at number 8. So let's move on to number 7. Another wide receiver named Mike that I like, who's hooked up with the GOAT. Mike Evans commanded just a 60% target share through the regular season and playoffs, but still finished 8th in both fantasy points per game and overall in half point scoring. The Bucs wide receiver achieved his 8th consecutive 1,000-yard season and set a new career high with 14 touchdowns, breaking his record from 2020. Double-digit touchdowns accompanied by a low target share is usually a sign to fade a wide receiver, but that's hardly the case in a pass-happy offense led by Tom Brady. Come on, man. Let me put it this way. Let me give you stats on Mike Evans for the last few years. Mike Evans, since 2014, 2014, he scored 12 touchdowns. 2015, he played 15 games, scored 3. 2016, this is before Tom Brady. He scored 12 touchdowns, played 16 games. 2017, 15 games, 5 touchdowns. 2018, 16 games, 8 touchdowns, and all over 1,000 yards. And 2018, he had 1,500 yards. Okay. 2019, 13 games played, over 1,100 yards, 8 touchdowns. In the last 2 seasons, 20 and 21, he had a little over 1,000 yards and 13 and 14 touchdowns, respectively. He's going to score some touchdowns. That's what you want. And to be a 1,000-yard receiver. That's what you want. That's what you need. Mike Evans, I got him at number 7. All right, let's move on to the number 6. Now, Number 6, a Dallas Cowboy. No Amari Cooper. Oh, God. No Amari Cooper and Cedric Wilson can only spell great things for CeeDee Lamb. Biggest issue with CeeDee Lamb was that he has never seen the target volume in an offense that had a bunch of playmakers. Lamb boasted just an 18% target share last season, which ranked outside the top 30 among all pass catchers. But with the 8th most vacated targets left to be distributed between Lamb, tight end Dalton Schultz, and LC injury in returning Michael Gallup and veteran James Washington. Michael Gallup is coming off an ACL. James Washington fractured his foot. There's only 3rd round rookie Jalen Tolbert. I bet Lamb gets at least a 20% target share in 2022. His 20% target rate per route run bested anybody in Dallas last season. And that means more fantasy production will be on its way. Only once did Lamb fail to score double-digit fantasy points in a game where he commanded fewer than 6 targets. And he's going to get more than 6 targets. He's the alpha. He's the number 1. Now, don't discount, and I've talked about this guy, because he looks like he's the number 2. And they're going to roll a lot of coverage, defenses I'm talking about, going to roll a lot of coverage over to CeeDee Lamb to try to stop him. And Jalen Tolbert, who's a rookie, who's more likely that the number 2 wide receiver, seeing that Michael Gallup is dealing with an ACL injury coming back from that, and veteran James Washington is dealing with a fractured foot. Next man up, Jalen Tolbert, CeeDee Lamb, 1-2. CeeDee Lamb the 1, Jalen Tolbert the 2. All right. Let's move on to the next one we got here, and that's number 5. And I'm saying number 5. You got Davante Adams at number 5. Yes, I do. He gets a downgrade going from Aaron Rodgers to his former teammate in college, Derek Carr. Now, he's finished no worse than wide receiver 5 when he was with Aaron Rodgers since 2018. And he ended up 3rd in fantasy points per game and at age 29. Adams' high level of play won't stop in Vegas, but his fantasy stock goes down slightly from Rodgers to Derek Carr. Like I said, it's unlikely that Carr hyper targets Adams to the length of a 28% target share. Remember, you got Darren Waller and you got Hunter Renfrow there. They represent more target competition than Adams has ever played with since becoming the lead dog in Green Bay. But because he is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, Derek Carr is going to get his boy the ball. He's going to get his boy the ball. Now, who's going to suffer from that? Is it going to be Darren Waller or Hunter Renfrow? Or is it going to be all 3? Because you got 3 mouths to feed. 3 fantasy stars at one point to feed. Who's going to get the lion's share of targets? You would think it would be Davante Adams. You would think it would be Davante Adams. That's why I have Davante Adams at number 5. All right, let's move on. I know this is taking a while, but I want to get this out there and make sure everybody understands how I feel about this. Not that I'm the end all, the be all, but I'm just giving my opinion among other opinions. All right. Now, coming out of Minnesota, going to Buffalo was somewhat an odd season for Stephon Diggs, as his fantasy production took a step back from his first season in Buffalo. Now, he had a 29% target share, which fell to 24%, as did his yards per route run, 2.5 versus 1.8. This resulted in Diggs finishing with just 2 games with at least 90 receiving yards and a dramatic decrease from his 10 90-plus yards during the 2020 season. He finished as top as a top 15 wide receiver just once through the first 9 weeks of the season, but improved down the stretch as Buffalo's offense hit its stride. He had 3 top 10 finishes as a wide receiver 8 in fantasy points per game in half point scoring 4.8. Now, still top 5 upside still exists with Diggs in this explosive Bills offense. They like to throw the football. They're not much of a running football. They like to throw the football. Even if his target share holds at 24% in 2022. Because his command of high-value targets in the Buffalo offense was unmatched by almost every other wide receiver in NFL. He was one of just 2 wide receivers to hit over 2,000 air yards, Justin Jefferson being the other one. Diggs also commanded the most end zone targets in the NFL, 25, during the regular season, 6 more than the next closest receiver, Justin Jefferson. Stephon Diggs, I have him at number 4. At number 4. All right, let's move on to number 3. Number 3 was a rookie last year. Second-year player. Most second-year players are supposed to improve off of their rookie season. Jamar Chase broke Justin Jefferson's record for most receiving yards by a rookie, finishing in 2021 as the wide receiver 5 in fantasy points per game and the wide receiver 22 in expected fantasy points per game. Only Deebo Samuel scored more fantasy points above expectation, which is plus 74.3, than Jamar Chase. And that's got to do with his home running hitting ability. I'm talking about Deebo Samuel and Chase. Chase, 18 yards per reception, ranked second best in the NFL, only behind Deebo Samuel. The Bengals wide receiver dominated, and he continued in the dominance continued in the postseason with back-to-back 100-yard games in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. Chase commanded a 27% target share when it mattered most and during postseason play, a 5% increase from his regular season target share. So what I'm saying is this. I predict the Bengals offense is going to regress, but I don't think the combination of Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow is going to regress. I think he's going to build off of that. And he's always talking smack to Browns defensive backs, saying they can't cover him. And that's going to be probably a pretty heated rivalry. I think they play in October for the first time. So that there's going to be the Battle of Ohio, and we'll see who gets the best of whom. But he got a wide receiver. Most wide receiver defense talk a lot. And a lot of DBs talk a lot too. So we're going to see some healthy competition here. Healthy competition. At number 2, people are going to say, what the heck? Why do you have Cooper Kupp at number 2 versus Justin Jefferson? And I wish Mr. FSP was on here, but that's all right. What else is there to say about Cooper Kupp's historic 2021 campaign? The guy was essentially lapping the other wide receivers, finishing number 1 overall in points per game, receiving yards, 1,947 yards receiving, almost 2,000 yards. And target share, 31%, over 200 targets total in 21 games. And with new quarterback, and I love Matthew Stafford, and I couldn't be more happy. He elevated Kupp back inside the top 5 fantasy wide receivers as he previously was in 2019. Stafford's arrival in LA was a code to crack Kupp's untapped potential, especially with touchdowns. After catching just 3 in 2020, Kupp led the league with 16 touchdowns, a feat that has happened only 6 times since 2007. However, people, regression will also certainly hit Kupp's production in 2022. Allen Robinson. Just remember I said it. Just because it's nearly impossible for him to repeat his once-in-a-lifetime production. Of the 5 wide receivers that caught at least 16 touchdowns, they averaged just a little over 6 touchdowns the following season. Only two. Randy Moss and Devontae Adams were able to haul in double-digit scores after they did that the year prior. And the fact is, he has Allen Robinson to throw to. You think he's not going to want to throw to Allen Robinson, especially when you hear reports coming out of training camp that they love Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson's balling out. You think that they are not going to take advantage of Allen Robinson's playmaking ability? That's why I have Cooper Kupp at number 2. And better late than never, I'm bringing in Mr. FSP to the show. And I got one more person to bring in.
Can I ask a question though?
Wait a minute. Don't say nothing. Let me round this off. As you see on the bottom, I have 24. The other one that's not there, but he's Darnell Mooney at number 24. And number 1, and I truly believe this because the offense is going to get picked up. The offense is going to pick up. It's going to be more pass-happy offense. And I love this kid. I love the offense. I've been raving about this offense and what's going to happen with Kirk Cousins in this offense, even though he's got COVID now for the second time. Even though he's got COVID, multiple times. Okay, I'll say multiple times. He just can't get enough of a good thing, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. And I saw a remark from Kirk Cousins. If I die, I die. Come on, man. Are you serious? Are you serious? That's mentality. I don't understand. I don't understand. Anyway, at number 1 over Cooper Kupp, and I'm just saying, he has been a revelation since entering the league. He has the most receiving yards in the NFL, which is 3,016 in a player's first 2 seasons, and is Pro Football Focus second highest graded receiver over that span, which is 91.7. The Minnesota Vikings wide receiver finished 2021 as the wide receiver 4 in fantasy points per game at 19.5 and expected fantasy points per game at 18.8. Jefferson was a model of consistency at just 22 years old. Finishing as the top 20 wide receiver in 76% of his games. That's 13 out of 17 games, while commanding the league's 3rd highest target share at 27%, and the number 1 air yards share at 44%. I have, at the end of my rankings, with number 1, Justin Jefferson, Mr. FSP.
Firstly, ladies and gentlemen, I will not apologize for my tardiness because I just got the invite. If I just get an invite an hour into the show, that's, whose fault is that?
I sent the invite at 9:30, so I don't know what.
Well, I just got it. It just popped up.
No problem.
So,
yes,
you know what? I'm gonna tell you a story, Jerry. It involves our Vegas league, or a couple of the Vegas leagues. I believe I told you this in the text, like when it happened. Justin Jefferson has gone number 1 overall in 2 of those Vegas leagues.
Yep.
And those leagues are different. There's a huge emphasis on the wide receiver. And the pass receiving running back is like secondary. And the quarterback is even less valuable, even though the quarterback gives you just as many points if you get the right quarterbacks. I like Justin Jefferson. And in light of what I said yesterday about Matthew Stafford. Is it a torn ligament? I think it's a torn ligament in his elbow. I don't think it's just a sprain or a strain. I think it's a torn ligament. And with that being the case, he probably will go a couple of weeks. He's going to get hit on it a couple of times. And when that happens, I love Cooper, but Woodruff is the backup currently. Jimmy G, unless he gets released from San Fran, ain't getting traded nowhere in the NFC North. He ain't going to Seattle, even though they could use him based off what I saw yesterday. He's not going to go to the Rams if something happens to my man Stafford. They won't trade him there. They're not stupid. Probably needs to go to Cleveland. Deshaun ain't going to be there all year. But Justin Jefferson, and believe me when I say this, because I had Kirk Cousins as a quarterback for 5 years in Washington. He's a very good and capable quarterback, but he's not the quarterback that gets you over the hump. I'll give you a prime example. It's going to be kind of weird for you, but Bobby Ross took the San Diego Chargers to the Super Bowl. Bobby Ross did, not Marty Schottenheimer.
Okay.
Marty Schottenheimer was very good and is, and I wish we would have capped him more than the year we got him. He gets you to a level, but he just couldn't get him past that level. That's what Kirk Cousins is. He got Thielen to a level, and I bet you Thielen's going to have a damn good year this year. But Cousins gets you to a level. You need that next tier quarterback to take you to that elite level. And I'm telling you, Justin Jefferson is good, but I don't think he's going to be the number one receiver. Because I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to be able to continually put up the numbers with Jefferson in a system that will cater to Thielen. Listen what I'm saying. Thielen currently plays that Woods role, right? But the X, who's the X on that team? The X on that team is Justin Jefferson. And the X is normally on the left or on the line of scrimmage, man to man or whatever. The guy that flourishes the most in that system that's coming from Washington via the Rams is the slot, which it could be the Z or in my system, the W. That's what Cooper Kupp does. So I'm not dogging your list because I like your list actually, but it's two players that I have above him. And I'm probably the only one that does this. The first one is Jamar Chase. I'm not saying Jamar Chase is no more receiver. Not saying that. But I have him above Justin Jefferson. The system and that quarterback and that merger of the two in year two with the other talent around him is going to make it real difficult. The next one, who I have at number one, who I don't care if people sleep on or not. Same type of situation. The system, the quarterback, the relationship. Devontae Adams. Here, Adams has Waller as well as Renfro, and they're trying to find a third guy, right? But when you got a tight end that catches and blocks, a Z that moves around and gets you those whatever yards you need, you cannot double team Adams every game, all game. Otherwise, those who are going to eat him up. Not to mention, they're going to a power run game. If you haven't noticed, so you're going to bring a safety down in the box. Adams is going to have more opportunities to showcase and show off. Justin Jefferson, yes. Conventional wisdom says he should be 1 or 2. But conventional wisdom doesn't also look at this is what you just said. What did Kirk Cousins say? If I die, I die. Okay. That's your prerogative, your personal thing. But if you die, you die. Who's the backup quarterback? I know it's a trivial question, right? Because life, limb, and eyesight, right? But that is a selfish mindset, is what I'm saying. His wife and his kids are taken care of for life with all the money he made, right? But everyone else that depends on him and his services are just asked out. During the season, let this happen. And I see myself in the background on the big screen on your TV. I'm glad you're looking at us. But you got it muted. Good job. But during the season, I believe it had with Carson Wentz, Kirk Cousins, and it was one other quarterback that got COVID during the season last year. And that is, they almost missed it. Or they missed it. It was that Titans-Ravens game where like half the team got COVID. And they kept rescheduling. I'm not sure if it was Ryan Tannehill that got COVID, but I believe it was that game that had like half the players get COVID because half of them wasn't vaccinated. And by the rule of the NFL, Baltimore should have won that game by a forfeit instead of rescheduling after rescheduling. I'm not knocking someone's personal choice, but in the terms of your number one receiver, there are too many variables there that tell me he might not repeat the type of numbers that he had. He's going to get close, but I don't think he's going to repeat them. Just like you said, Cooper Kupp had a trifecta. And with Stafford's issue, I don't think he's going to make the same type of numbers. He's still going to be a top tier because, I mean, Van Jefferson's good, but he's not Cooper Kupp. You were just talking about Allen Robinson. Good. He's a very good possession receiver. But you already got a possession receiver. That's Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is this. Grabbing Allen Robinson is a better value because you can get him cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
Then you can get Cooper Kupp. Cooper Kupp is a high value. Receiver. Most people in a draft are going to try to grab Cooper Kupp.
Well, they're not going to try to grab him unless they're in the top 3.
That's what I'm talking about. You'll see.
Well, I mean, that's fine. You know who I'm giving my number one pick because I got that number one spot. Well, speaking of that, I'm going to do an interjection here. And you can take off by Eternal Autographs and Memorabilia, by the way. You can take that off because no movement. I just got a whole bunch of product that I'm going to just sell. But we have 2 open spots in our fantasy football league. We're filled at 10, but I want 12. I invite, and I'm going to throw the challenge out there, live on air. Mr. Taylor, I know you have a family and all that other stuff, but I'd love to bring you over and whoop your butt. Vicky, I love you. I love to beat you too. And anybody else that listens to the Master Plan on Sunday, because he has a good following, I'd love to challenge you to a tough league. Jerry's already complaining about the settings already. Change this, change that. It is what it is.
It's too many,
But
but it's too many IDPs. Come on, man.
y'all complain about having defensive points, and then I take out defense completely and give IDPs that will give you less points than the team defense that I had. But it's okay. It's okay.
It's all relative.
It is. It is.
All
But
relative.
we have two spots. If you pay, you play. That's the bottom line. You pay, you play. First two to pay will play. But I don't think you should draft Jamar Chase number 1 or Justin Jefferson. I believe Jamar Chase is. I know I'm gonna put it out there. One player is already set at receiver, and I hate him. It's the league champ. He's keeping Jamar Chase and Deebo Samuels.
Okay.
I hate him.
Well, when did he grab him?
Oh, he had him during the season. He drafted Jamar Chase with the 7th round, 6th or 7th round.
Okay.
And Deebo was 4th.
Okay.
So he's got them.
That's good. That doesn't. I mean, it guarantees he's got solid wide receiver play. But
Okay.
we'll see what happens from there. It doesn't guarantee a win, but it is what it is.
Yes.
It is what it is. So I mean, I adjusted my keepers, so we'll see what happens. Anyway,
You're not gonna keep your boy. You're not keeping your boy.
No. One of these days, I'll explain to you my philosophy. But I'm grabbing 2 quality players that were grabbed last season when I grabbed them. That definitely aren't. Their value has jumped up way higher than it is now. So I'm in a good spot. I'll take those players and two different positions. I'm in a good position.
But hold on. You said they were taken last. So are they somebody else's keepers?
No. Nope.
Okay. And they were not your first, second round pick.
Nope.
And they were not your keepers from last year.
Nope.
Okay.
Not at all. Not at all.
You good then?
and 2 different positions, not one position. 2 different positions.
I'll just look at your team and figure it out before you lock them in. Matter of fact, I'm glad you said that. What I'm gonna do is this. And somebody brought this up in a different league I'm in. I thought it was a very smart thing, and I'm going to do it. But it all depends on if we get 12 people or not. I'm going to let everybody know their draft pick before they get to lock in their keeper.
When are you doing that? The keeper is
the 25th.
25th, 2 weeks.
Yes. So next week, like I said, by Saturday, if I don't have 2 more teams, I'm locking it at 10, and then I'm going to do the randomizer for draft picks. That way, you might change your strategy as to who you keep. So
ain't gonna happen. I got
not you. I'm just saying people
okay.
in general in the league. Because I think there are a couple players on my team I want to keep. And the 2 that I kept are going to be very great value picks. But
speaking of value picks, let me reveal my 2-round.
Oh, please do so.
2-round.
Ladies and gentlemen, y'all about to see me freak out live on air.
2
Especially
rounds.
if he does
2 rounds. 2 rounds. And I was going back and forth between 1 and 2. I was going back and forth between 1 and 2.
That dude should not be where I think you got him.
I was going back between 1 and 2.
He shouldn't even be in the top 5.
I was going back between 1 and 2. But people, my mock draft 8.0, which is 2 rounds, which is the first 2 rounds, I'm about to reveal from you. And what you saw is on this wide receiver rankings will reflect of what you're going to see in my 2-round draft. Now, this is not going to be written in stone. This is how I feel it's going to. It gives you a good guideline of where players are going to probably fall, and the fact is people are probably going to be drafting several of these players in whatever position I have them in. With that being said, I've never done this before. I've always did it 1 round. Always done 1 round. But I'm about to reveal, and Mr. FSB can't wait to jump
No, I
all over
cannot.
this. I know he can't wait to jump all over this. I'm about to reveal my 2-round mock draft, which is I'm going to go.
Hold on. Question. Is this like in a snake serpentine style, or is this just okay? Well, 24 to 1 or
24 to 1. 24 to 1. Okay. So this is where I think people are going to draft these players.
Okay.
You follow me? So
All right.
with that being said, here we go.
I already saw who you got up there.
So let me go through this. This is going to be, and the fact is, people, one of my favorite players is outside the top 24. He's 25. One of my favorite players is outside the top 24. So we'll go down the list, or up the list, I should say. And I'll do it this way. I talked about this player before, and he was the wide receiver 10 in my wide receiver rankings, and he's my wide receiver. I'm picking at 24, which would be Deebo Samuel.
So you're saying the number 1 person was going to have who I saw at number 1. Everybody can see it number 1, and Deebo Samuels, as opposed to another running back. I'm just saying.
Yes.
Okay.
I just said that my favorite running back, Javonte Williams.
I know.
Is at 25. Deebo Samuel is at 24.
Okay.
As you can see, okay, people, I'll go up the list. And if you have any questions on any of these players, feel free. And no problem. 24 is Deebo Samuel. Keenan Allen is 23. Tyreek Hill is 22. Mike Evans, 21.
Number 9.
Mark Andrews is 20. Alvin Kamara is 19. Leonard Fournette is 18. Saquon Barkley is 17. CeeDee Lamb is 16. Aaron Jones is 15. That's his second round. Devontae Adams is 14. Stephon Diggs is 13. Jamar Chase is 12. Joe Mixon, his teammate, is 11. DeAndre Swift is 10. Kelsey is 9. Now, there's going to be somebody in your draft that's going to pick Travis Kelsey late in the first round. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. Derrick Henry is 8. Cooper Kupp is 7. Justin Jefferson is 6. Najee Harris is 5. Dalvin Cook, 4. Austin Eckler, 3. Jonathan Taylor, it's going to be 1, and Christian McCaffrey is going to be number 2. All right, Mr. FSP, I know you're waiting to eat this up, but what's your thoughts?
I'm going to be diplomatic with this.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Travis Kelsey is not a top 10, much less first round draft pick this year.
Right, what I just said.
I know what you said. Somebody's going to do it. And what I'm telling you is that's a mistake. I understand he's the major target, and definitely with Tyreek gone, he'll probably get even more.
Oh, boy.
Excuse me. But no. Mark Andrews in the top 24 without Darren Waller. I don't think, just my opinion, a tight end goes or should go. Kelsey will go, but a tight end should go in the first 2 rounds. That's just me. Because the value
I agree.
there is running back and wide receiver.
I agree, but there's going to be people that are going to take Kelsey
I
and
understand.
Andrews in the first 2 rounds.
I understand.
Guarantee it.
I didn't say they won't, but these are your rankings and what you would do in your top 24. I would not have it that way. I'm gonna go over your list. You got Jason Taylor number 1. CMC, you know his ass ain't up there for me. Austin Eckler, Cook, Harris. I put Harris above Eckler, and Eckler stays at 3. Cook's there. I put CMC after Cup. No, actually, I put him after Henry. Take Travis Kelce out, put him in like later 3rd. I would have Javonte at 24. I understand your dilemma because you have a value at these other players, just like Debo. Even though his contract says he's not going to play running back, he's playing running back.
Yes, he is.
Because the contract says if he gets 300 yards total rushing the ball throughout the year, it's $650,000 bonus. He's going to get that. He might get that on a reverse. It does not say he has to be from the running back position. It just says rushing yards.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand your little dilemma there. I like Mark Andrews. Don't get me wrong. Boomer Sooner. Top 24? No. DeAndre Swift. I have Mixon above Swift only because I think Mixon has a better offensive line right now.
Okay.
And he's going to stay healthier. Healthier.
Let me put it this way. Detroit's offensive line ain't no joke.
I know. I saw the Hard Knocks.
Yeah.
I also saw their game.
Yeah.
They matriculated the ball pretty well down the field.
Oh yeah.
But again, that's against Atlanta. No real defensive front.
But they've been picking up top picks throughout the seasons, and now they are in a position to make some noise because they have high draft picks.
No, I agree with
you.
Penei Sewell is the highest draft pick. You got Aaron Jones below half these people. Aaron Jones last year was the second leading receiver target-wise on Green Bay, and they're starting running back.
Okay. I have Aaron Jones 15.
I know. And
that's the middle of the 2nd round.
And I don't believe that's a good place. I believe he's a first rounder, maybe a late first rounder. Especially if you should take Kelsey out. I don't have Leonard Fournette above Kamara or you don't have him above Saquon. So I actually do have Kamara slightly above Saquon. The only reason why is because we don't have a ruling yet. And I know I had an opportunity to get Kamara at one point in one of my drafts earlier this year, but because we didn't know his situation, I let him go. And he went like in the 6th or 7th round or something like that. Jameis Winston had a little owie, right? Not saying he's going to be out for any significant amount of time. To be honest, I like Andy Dalton with him. I do. Andy Dalton's a check down king. Mm-hmm. He is a check down king. Mm-hmm. So to be honest, I think Andy Dalton fits that system better than Jameis Winston does. Mm-hmm. So I move Kamara up a little bit in my rankings. Mike Evans over Tyreek Hill. I like that. People probably don't realize it. They came in at the same time. Mike Evans has more everything than Tyreek. More touchdowns, more yards, more receptions. Only thing he doesn't have more than Tyreek are Super Bowls. That's the truth. Numbers don't lie. And I would not put Diggs over Adams. I love Stephon Diggs. I love him. But as I said
But he,
earlier,
but
Adams is,
he had a down year last year.
I understand that. And I'm not saying he's going to have a down year this year because I don't think he will. But I think Adams is still that dog. And I think that Adams is going to have a better year than Stephon.
But it's only 13 or 14.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
flip.
I mean, but
It's not a big
again,
difference. It's not a big difference.
but for me, if I'm looking at availability, I'm like, okay, well, I like having Adams over Diggs. That's a personal preference.
Okay.
I like having Adams over Diggs because, again, I think the volume is going to be there for Adams. Maybe not 168 balls, but when you look at the dynamics of the team, Buffalo has a very good team, right? They don't have a proven receiver on the opposite side of Diggs that's going to be a threat. McKenzie's good. Davis is good, right? Knox is good, but Knox isn't a top tier tight end. McKenzie and all those other guys aren't a top tier receiving threat like Waller and Renfro.
Yeah, but the problem I have is this. You mentioned the two other ones, Hunter Renfro, Darren Waller. Now you have Devontae Adams. How I understand that they were teammates, but you have Hunter Renfro and Darren Waller also on the team. How's that going to be played out?
I'm going to tell you. If you look at the first game of the season last year, right? Renfro had some passes. Waller got some passes. But who was the target mostly first game?
Renfro, because the fact that Waller got hurt. Oh, the first game.
Yes.
Waller.
It was number 7, who's now Zay Jones.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay.
Zay Jones got the most targets in that game. Zay Jones was the reason why they won that game. That's Devontae Adams now. So you're not going to have those drops that Zay Jones had, even though Zay Jones had a damn good game. He also dropped some balls during the season.
Yeah, but
Ruggs was a main target too until his issue came up.
But you have a different offensive coordinator. You have a different
agree.
And different philosophy. And the fact is, in that philosophy, if I'm not mistaken, he likes the ball going to the slot receiver and the tight end.
I agree. I'm not saying it's not there. However, liking the player to get the ball and where the quarterback throws the ball, two different things. Okay. Coverage dictates where that ball is going to go. As I said, if you're going to double Devontae all game, and he's proven to beat double teams,
right?
Let's keep it real. He's in Green Bay, whether it was the Bears, Detroit, Minnesota, or any other team the Packers played, he's beaten double coverage.
Right. Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So you double team him all game, and you're going to leave Renfro one-on-one, Waller one-on-one with a safety or a linebacker. So you have to pick your poisons. And what I'm going to tell you is Carr is good enough to put the ball where it needs to be for any of those receivers.
Okay.
And the fact that he has his high school rival college teammate and off-season partner on his team now, I guarantee you they've schemed up plays specifically for Adams for every game. Every game. Now, Adams can get 4 catches or even less than that and have a great game. He is not a volume-needing receiver to be explosive. Renfro's a volume receiver. Waller's in between because he'll get you a touchdown on the end zone or the red zone stuff alone, right? He's also the guy that's going to matriculate the ball down the field. That's what he and Renfro do. They're chain movers. So, I mean, again, I'm not going to destroy your list. I think from 20 through 24, you should have at least one or two running backs in there.
Okay.
As I said, if you take Andrews out, because I don't believe Andrews belongs in the top 24 anyway, and you bump down Kelsey, you move one of those backs up there, but you take out Andrews, you got room for Javonte Williams, who, by the way, in most drafts that I've been in thus far, is going in the middle of the second.
That's about right. That I believe that, because the fact is, most people don't believe that he's going to be an even share, or
It's not.
he's going to be the lead dog.
He's going to be the lead dog because right now, if you looked at the game yesterday for Denver, they were discussing the running back troubles. Like half of the running backs are hurt. Only one that is not nicked up or hurt is Javonte Williams. Melvin Gordon's dealing with some type of little nick. The backup behind him has some type of sprain. And then the guy behind him has some shoulder issue.
He's a tough running back, man.
But that's what I'm saying, that it's preseason and these guys got these types of injuries already. Now, they could be exaggerated a little bit, but if you're trying to make a team, right? If you're trying to make a team, I don't know what you're shaking your head like that for. If you're trying to make a team and you already know two of those spots are spoken for, and they're only going to carry probably 4 running backs, you got to play special teams and you got to be healthy. The 2 backups ain't healthy. The running backs that ran last night, they did well. I was surprised at how bad Dallas's defense looked. But
Who?
Dallas.
Oh.
Denver played Dallas last night.
Yeah. Yeah, they look bad.
They got shut out.
Yeah, they look bad.
Oh, they got a field goal. My bad. I think they got a field goal. But
they look bad.
Yeah, they did. They did. They came out with they rushed the ball for 70 yards and threw the ball for 58 yards to start the game, right? Which was good, which shows they're going to go to a power. Well, we don't know what they're going to go to. But
Exactly.
But with Gallup still out, Washington having an issue with his arm or something like that, your only real threat at receiver is CeeDee Lamb, because you don't know what you got in Tolbert yet. It would not make a whole bunch of sense to come out throwing the ball a lot. Run the rock until you get your outside weapons and some belief in Tolbert. But I didn't decimate your list. You know I don't like CMC anywhere near the top 3, top 4, top 5. But it's your list.
Okay.
I mean, I would take out, Andrews, drop Kelsey, and move around some of the players and add Javonte. But other than that, I'm with you.
All right, people. Hadn't been on YouTube for a while. Haven't been on YouTube in a while.
We trying to get the league filled. Let's go. $100. Sorry.
Anyway, it's I appreciate you jumping on. I'm surprised that you got the notification so late.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
When I sent it out, let me see when I sent it out. I can tell you when I sent it out. I sent it out. Come on. Hold on. When did I send that damn thing out?
Don't worry about it. People don't need to know. We can talk about that off air.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
I got it an hour ago.
Oh, okay. Well,
because I've been on for an hour now.
Okay. Well, that being said, I appreciate you people coming on, and tune in next week, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Saturday afternoon will be the FFP show. He'll be again on YouTube, and also
Twitch,
Blog Talk Radio.
Facebook.
If Blog Talk Radio, if I do believe, and
Mhm.
also 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll be back here again on YouTube because, unbeknownst to Mr. FSP, I'm not coming back to Blog Talk.
Okay.
I'm going exclusively on YouTube.
You might want to let your Blog Talk Radio audience know that before you just do it, because there are people that do listen to you on Sunday. You need to
Okay.
at least do Blog Talk for like up until the season to let them know, hey, come September 1st, or
I can do that. I can do that. I can do that.
why is
I
this
can do
cat chasing this dog?
I can do that.
I mean, why is this dog chasing this cat? Oh my God. Chewbacca.
Chewbacca. Who the heck is that?
That's Tori's dog. You better be quiet. Don't talk about my daughter's dog.
Chewbacca. Okay.
Because he looks like Chewbacca.
She likes Star Wars. Okay.
No,
problem.
she doesn't. But the dog looks like Chewbacca from Star Wars.
Okay. No problem. Anyway,
Like a Wookiee.
people, next week, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll take your suggestion. I'll be on Blog Talk Radio. I won't
As
be on.
well as this.
No. I won't be on YouTube. I'm on. What I'll be doing is this. This is what I'm going to be doing.
I suggest you get a background too.
This is what I'm going to do. I'm not worried about a freaking background. Anyway, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go and be on Blog Talk Radio until the. Hold on.
It's only 2 more weeks left in the month.
Yes, and I'm trying to look at up until the Sunday of the last time I'm going to be on Blog Talk Radio is going to be the 4th of September, which is the Sunday Labor Day, Sunday before Labor Day. After Labor Day, I'm off of Blog Talk exclusively on YouTube. Okay? And
Do you have any other platforms other than YouTube?
No, I don't know any other platforms.
You don't have LinkedIn. You don't have.
No.
I know you have Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook.
I know.
Last time I tried to put it on Facebook, I don't know if it ever showed up because I have two links I can use, YouTube and Facebook, but I don't think it showed up on Facebook.
You can try it again. I believe it'll show up.
Yeah. Anyway, I like this. I like this, so you can see my face.
Oh my God! The hittiness.
And see my reaction to what Mr. FSP has to say, and vice versa. But it is what it is, people. I feel it's time to transition to this platform versus just strictly on Blog Talk Radio. And I don't mind jumping on here and being able to talk, even though I can't receive. I don't know if I can receive phone calls or not.
You can. You cannot receive phone calls. I don't know which service you got, but you can invite them to talk on the chat and then bring them on in the studio. They don't have to have their camera on. It would be nice to have their camera on, but they don't have to have it on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway, people, thanks for listening. We got about a minute and 15 seconds left. Is there anything, Mr. FSP, that you would like to say in regards to your
No, I think I said it
in
all.
regards to this?
No, we're not going to be doing eternal autographs and memorabilia anymore.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay. Okay.
Unfortunately. But I will say this. I'm trying to do 2 things at one time. I have a bunch of jerseys and a bunch of memorabilia that I plan to give away or sell. Be a lucky recipient of that memorabilia. So if you're in my league, I may give you the opportunity to choose. There is a Tyreek Hill. There is a Tyreek Hill. I'm gonna let the creamsicle Warren Sapp one. I'm gonna give that to a buddy of mine. But Tyreek Hill, Allen Iverson, DeMarcus Ware Denver, DeMarcus Ware Dallas, and a couple other jerseys that are signed. I'm gonna give my league winner an opportunity to just pick one of them. If I don't sell it,
Okay.
I'll let them pick for free.
Okay.
Added bonus. But for you guys, I might just do a special. Here's what I'm gonna do. Here's a special.
And you know. Let me
Let me put the special up before I forget it.
let me just say this real quick.
Can I say before I do the special?
This is my show. This is my show. Let me say this real quick. I'm trying to give you a compliment, but you won't want to take it.
Okay.
You just want to talk. You talk about somebody else in your family that likes to talk, don't listen.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
really.
Okay.
Great minds think alike, because I had said about a few weeks ago to my family league an added bonus to whoever wins the league. I'm going to give a surprise added bonus. And I was thinking about whoever wins the league, I pretty much know what their favorite team is, and giving a jersey or some type of memorabilia from their favorite team to them as an added bonus. And they don't know that yet, but that's the deal.
They will now.
And you just said that. That's ironic, man. Great minds think alike.
Thank you. Well, I'm also going to say on the next live master plan on this StreamYard, YouTube, whatever, for $100, one of those jerseys could be had. One of them can be had for $100. Easy. It'll be in a mystery box. Whoever wins it has to pay $100, but they'll have to pick from the boxes. I'm just going to put them in boxes, and whatever contest you decide to do is going to cost a person $100, or whoever pays $100. I'll have the boxes right here. They can pick from 1 through 6, I believe. I got 6 jerseys. Yeah, CD Lamb. I got a CD Lamb signed one as well.
Yeah, but somebody's going to want a specific jersey. If you name the jerseys that you have that are on the list, and you're going to have somebody pay that amount of money to pick a random, and it's not the one that they want.
Well, I'm not going to name them anymore. So next time you go live, which is in a week or two, just let people know there's opportunity to buy a jersey live on air.
Yeah, but it's a random jersey. It's not a specific jersey. That's
well, I can change that depending on the winner. If it's you, oh no, you're getting like a knockoff. No name.
Well, no one's going to buy a knockoff for $100. You can forget that.
Well,
that's a ripoff. That's a ripoff, and you get a bad reputation for that.
They're called customs, to be honest. But a custom with an autograph is not a ripoff. A custom without an autograph for $100, yeah, now that's a ripoff. That's a ripoff. But I don't do that. I have some that don't have autographs. I'm not going to sell those for $100. But I just thought I give your graduation from Blog Talk Radio a gift.
Okay, people, we're going to talk off air. Okay.
You're going to try to buy one before we go with that.
We're going to talk off air. Thanks for listening. I got something to say here, and here we go.
Here comes the, y'all don't really want it like that.
All right, people, we're out. See ya.
Later.